So I ended up explaining that Arizona was still hypothetically possible because the alternate electors had voted. And I explained the whole logic. I basically summarized a lot of the November 18th memo and I explained that Justice Ginsburg and Professor Lawrence Tribe had both written that January 6th was the real deadline, so that because the alternate electors had voted, we had more time to win the litigation. So it was, I think, clear in a way that maybe it hadn't been before that we had till January 6th to win. But that got me in trouble afterwards because we had been told before the meeting not to say anything in the meeting that would make him feel better about his chances than before the meeting had started. And that, created a real problem, apparently.
This is Michael Popok, Legal AF. You just heard it, breathtaking and breaking news. Ken Chesebro, as you heard on that beginning clip, there are audio recordings of his interview as attempted proffer with the Michigan prosecutors who were prosecuting the fake electors in Michigan and got Ken Chesebro, who is a convicted felon in Georgia and former Donald Trump lawyer, to confess to his role in the fake elector scheme, and more importantly, tied directly to Donald Trump. This is now one piece of direct evidence that Donald Trump knew he lost. He was told by the lawyers he hired that he lost, and that it was Ken Chesebro, apparently, inadvertently or otherwise, who accidentally toppled America by planting the seed in Donald Trump's mind and giving oxygen to the idea that the last stand for Donald Trump was Jan 6th, and boy, did he take that seriously, calling for it to be wild on Jan 6th, calling all of his MAGA supporters to go down there, leading to the attack on the Capitol. That came out of the mouth like a cartoon balloon of Ken Chesebro, who went totally off script, or as Ken Chesebro refers to it, it's the photo op that went south quick. Why? Because that's not the reason they were supposed to be there. And the lawyers, Troupis and Chesebro, were instructed by Reince Priebus, the former chair of the Republican Party, formerly in the White House with Donald Trump. He was a chief of staff at one point. They were instructed, don't say or do anything that gives Donald Trump hope that he can overturn the election results. That was on their palm card. That was their marching orders. Did Ken Chesebro stay on script? No, he did not. And that led to a very irate Jim Troupis, who was there with him, a trial lawyer himself, to berate Ken Chesebro, which he admits in a clip I'm going to play next, and Reince Priebus being very upset because of this little whisper conversation where Ken Chesebro told Donald Trump, hey, the real date, Mr. President, is Jan 6th, and we can use this alternate electors, i.e. the fake electors, with some wins and some courthouses, and we can put that together and you can return to the White House. And that's all Donald Trump needed. Right? You tell that to a madman and he runs with it to a degree that nobody expected. Even Ken Chesebro didn't expect it. What Ken Chesebro apparently wanted Donald Trump to hear was there's another layer of potential, things we can try, but I'm not sure they'll be successful, but we can try it. That's not what Donald Trump heard. What Donald Trump heard, almost like Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance. All I got to do is get MAGA to descend on the Capitol, bring their weapons with them, and then we'll take it from there, a version of that. So Ken Chesebro, the accidental architect of almost toppling America, just confessed in that clip we just played to having gone completely rogue and off script and getting his fellow lawyer and Reince Priebus completely mad at him. He was supposed to tell him, as Troupis did. Now, let me just explain Troupis for a minute. Jim Troupis, a trial lawyer, had just lost, to put this in historical context, timeline context, he had just lost at the Wisconsin Supreme Court on one of these, there was 62 lawsuits that Donald Trump and his lawyers tried. Troupis handled many of them, along with Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani, Jenna Ellis, and the like. He lost, and he was there to report to Trump in a photo op only, like a step and repeat and a kiss on the cheek, get a photo with the president for Christmas, that kind of thing. He's supposed to report that, and he did, that it was hopeless, that the trial strategy wasn't working. And Wisconsin Supreme Court was an example of that. The reason Troupis was even in Washington is because Reince Priebus arranged for him to make an appearance before a Senate committee, mainly the Republican side of the Senate committee, to investigate, the election results as another angle of trying to slow down the certification. But he then swung by there and was told, stay on script. Don't give Donald Trump hope. Let him know that he lost. And then Ken Chesebro did what he did. So what happens next, and we're going to play the next recording, is Chesebro admits almost sheepishly, you can hear it in his voice, that he's in hot water now with Troopus, who not only emailed him and called him, but basically called him an effing idiot and said, you were not supposed to say that. It's exactly the opposite of what you were supposed to say. You were supposed to not leave Trump hopeful. We were supposed to reinforce that he had lost. And you did the exact dumb, wrong thing. Let's play that audio clip of Ken Chesebro talking to the Michigan prosecutors.
Right after the meeting, Troopus said that Reince Priebus was extremely concerned with what I told the president about Arizona and about the real deadline being January 6th, and that he was going to do damage control. Reince was going to follow up and I was trying to mitigate whatever optimism I guess I created. It's clear that Troopus personally told the president there was zero hope for Wisconsin. As part of this message, I think crafted to try to get him to concede, to just give up this long shot challenge. Even though we had a perfectly valid challenge and we ended up doing a cert petition in the end. So there was a conscious effort to deflect him from a sense of any possibility that he could pull out the election. There was a subsequent email a week later where Troopus said that it's extremely important that Reince Priebus, it's extremely important that there be no one ever learned what happened in the meeting. And I don't actually know quite, but it was probably related to what I told the president about the real deadline and about Arizona, and so it was something. There was something very sensitive about what happened in the meeting that he was concerned about. That had to be kept quiet.
So what I've taken away when you put all these clips together, and these are just a minute and a half, 2 minute snippets of a full several hour investigation or interview with Chesebro, is he's trying to paint himself as some sort of accidental insurrectionist. That I keep hearing this phrase, well, I designed the alternate elector scheme, but I let it be known that they were only to use those certificates in case of emergency and only if the lawsuits were winning. And we weren't winning in the lawsuits about Donald Trump winning the election, so we shouldn't have used the election, the fake elector certificates. And there should have been a legend on those that said, only to be used in case a court overturns, the other election results. And since that never happened, these should never be used. I know that's his theory, but the reason he pled guilty in Georgia, Ken Chesebro, is because he participated in the Georgia fake elector certificates, and that legend, that warning, that red letter was not on there. And so even in the one he participated in directly, he didn't even have the only use these in case of emergency if you win a lawsuit. It wasn't on there. It wasn't on any of them. The only reason some fake electors are avoiding prosecution is because some of the certificates did say this is an alternative certificate in case a judge rules as follows. But the other ones were sent in through Mike Roman, who may or may not be cooperating with the prosecutors, who was the election day coordinator for Donald Trump. They're all sent in through Mike Roman to the National Archive and to Vice President Pence as if they were the real certificates. That was the strategy. So here you got Chesebro. We finally have the answer to the question. Who put it in Donald Trump's mind that Jan 6th was the last battle for his presidency? And the answer, this ain't Jeopardy, but the answer is Ken Chesebro. And he just admitted it here about this December 16, 2020 meeting. Put a red circle around it, that date on your calendar, because that's going to be really important to both Fani Willis in the Georgia Fulton County prosecution and in the D.C. election interference case brought by the special counsel. And now we know that Fani Willis knew about December 16, 2020, because I did a hot take on it 2 weeks ago. She had, remember, 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, also downloaded from Ken Chesebro all of his testimony because he had to give a proffer in order to get his 1-count felony plea deal. So she has a version of that same meeting on her notes and in her recordings. Remember that, or know that the video of Ken Chesebro never got released to the public the way the others did in Georgia. right? Jenna Ellis and Sidney Powell's got released, not Chesebro. Now we know why, because nobody wanted that out on the Trump side. Jack Smith has not, based on reporting, done his own interview with his team of Ken Chesebro. I guess he will now, having now heard the audio clip of that interview. I'm sure that whet their appetite for what Chesebro can do for them. In their particular case, it's going to trial in March. We'll continue to report as evidence is exposed and developed and reported, and we'll do the analysis of it at the intersection of law, politics, and justice in one place on the MeidasTouch Network, exclusively there. It's your home for justice and legal and political analysis, I hope. If you like lawyers who know what they're talking about, giving you that analysis, then you've come to the right place. Legal AF every Wednesday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and then on audio podcast platforms of your choice. If you like this kind of hot take, I do them regularly here, only for the MeidasTouch Network. Give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment. It helps with the ratings. I've been known to jump in, and we can open a dialogue with each other. Until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popok reporting.
Thanks so much for watching. We're only a few subscribers short of 2 million subs. Please subscribe right now to the MeidasTouch YouTube channel for free and help us grow this unapologetically pro-democracy network.